All right.
Hello, Guru Nation. Welcome back to another episode of Random Musings from the Clinical Trials Guru. It's Dan Sfera. I've got Chris Sauber. How's it going, Chris?
It's going well. Thank you.
It's a very special interview. We're interviewing one of our CRA Academy, not even a graduate. We got Martin. He's just.
I'm a graduate.
Are you a graduate? I thought you're still in this current class.
No, I'm the intern right now.
Oh, you're in the intro. Okay.
I started in May.
Okay. Sorry. This August class is so big of a class. I just assume you're in there. Okay, so you recently graduated the last class, CRA
Yeah,
Academy, and did you do any of the internship? I think you did. I think I did your
yeah,
monitoring report. I remember seeing it now.
exactly. I started
Okay.
the intern in August, I think, right? Yeah, August.
Yep.
It started in August.
Yep. Okay. So sorry, Martin, CRA Academy graduate with flying colors too. And actually, I think Tiffany, our instructor, was saying that you were always asking good questions and things like that in class. So we've got a current or a recent CRA Academy graduate that just got hired at a big CRO. So his name is Martin, and it's clinical research assistant. Is that right, Martin?
Yes, that's correct.
And like it's for a COVID study, which is people are don't understand out there. If you're looking to get into the research industry right now, all right, COVID is a blessing in disguise for you because it paved the way for so many new studies. First of all, for those that don't understand how the industry works, we're always in a shortage of CRAs, coordinators, patients. The industry is always in a shortage. Then you add something like 15,000 more studies this year
Hmm.
because of COVID. So you're just adding to the demand without increasing the supply. And so
And
I
nobody
just,
knows anything before, right?
yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And guess what? With something like COVID-19, guess what? Everybody, even if you've been in this industry 20 years, like me and Chris almost, I think we're 15. You're research naive in COVID-19 also. Everybody's research naive. So
Hmm.
welcome to the club. Everybody's on an equal playing field. And it's never been a better time to become a PI, a coordinator, a CRA, a CRC, whatever you want to do. And we got Martin on, and we're going to ask you questions about your experience in the academy, your job searching experience, the frustrations, the highs, the lows, the blood, sweat, and tears, if you had any. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And then Chris will also add some questions because Chris always brings that unique, pragmatic approach
Yep,
that
we'll
he can
see.
help other students. So Martin, thank you. First of all, congratulations. You earned
Thank
it.
you.
And how was it? What was the process like?
Well, I basically my wife found your academy. And I have to say that we just moved to the US 2 years ago. And so my wife is already working in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yes.
And we knew that for me as a manager and the sales and customer service business, it's not easy to find a job here. So I knew that I have to start something new. And because we both are have a science bachelor, medical major. So um, I figured do something new, do something you want to do, and do something in a business in an area where it's easy to get a job. And so basically, when we came over here, she found your academy, and she said, Martin, if you want to do something, just go here. I mean, you sometimes you
Wow.
think, okay, is that an investment you want to do or not? I mean, it's a couple of dollars, right?
Hmm.
And but what are your expectations afterwards? And I recognize
Wow.
that this business is really fast, and it is a business where they are looking for guys much more more than in any other business. So yes, we invested it, and learning the things in the academy is good. You probably can do that somewhere else also, but the major point is that internship, because learning something and doing something, that's two different points. And
Yes.
basically, before you can start something, you have to be able to do it, right? I mean, you can learn a lot on YouTube. You can learn a lot on in the internet, but doing it within the business, that's basically the major point. And if you need a month for that internship or 6 months, I mean, I saw a lot of job, you know, postings for at least a year of experience. I mean, you cannot get that experience without doing a internship,
Hmm.
right? And that is basically the main point of your program, what I really appreciate. And that was basically the main thing to get hired, to do the things you learned in the academy.
So, if I can ask a question,
Uh-huh.
I'm curious. With the job that you were hired for, did it require any experience? What
Yeah,
were the details?
yeah. I mean, they were looking for somebody for with at least a year of experience. That are basically the major job postings. At least a year.
Okay,
But my major, when I had interviews, I mean, I could bring something on the table. I was a manager in the sales and customer service business, so I know how to talk to people. I know how to explain things. I know how to work. I did that for more than 10 years. I know how to organize myself, and
so
and and so you can sum that all up. And although I only had 2 3 months of experience in the internship, I could bring some more on the table, and it basically for them it summed up to a year or even two.
sure. So you
So
you you summarized your previous experiences to overcome that year needed. That hey,
yeah,
we can apply what I've already learned in other areas
exactly.
to
My
fulfill your year.
question, yeah, my question was always, okay, I don't have the experience for a year, but what do you learn within the first year? You learn how to work. You learn how to organize yourself, to prioritize, the work, to be on time, to manage things. And that's basically what you learn within the first 1 or 2 years. And I don't have to learn that anymore. So give me the
Exactly.
topic, and I will be able to solve it within 2 to 4 weeks. And that's always what I say. You have to bring something on the table they want. You
Yes.
know.
So
Exactly right. I always tell people like, they get discouraged when they see 2 years. And this is back to my point, back to my Instagram post where I said this is 2020 is the best year to be research naive. All right. What they used to say 2 years or more. Now, if you notice, if you look closely, it says 1 year or less for a
Of
lot of these
course,
jobs. So what are they
exactly.
really
That's
saying? It's not a rule that says if you have less than a year, don't apply. It means what Martin just said. If you know what you're doing, okay, and you're somewhere around a year, doesn't
yeah,
mean that could mean 6 months. That can mean five
yeah,
months. You can't tell me somebody who has uh, 11 months experience in research that doesn't really know much
yeah,
is better than somebody with 2 months of experience who actually does everything at his current role. That
yeah,
person with 2 months probably better fit than that person with 11 months.
yeah, yeah. That's correct.
Chris, you were going to say something?
yeah, I don't remember now.
Oh, geez. I just had to get that out because people,
Sure.
one of the frequently asked questions I have when people want to join the CRA Academy is, hey, I'm seeing all this 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. I tell them the reason they're saying that is because it's much easier for them to write 2 years of experience,
Hmm.
1 year of experience, as opposed to candidates should know and then like a list of like 100 things that CRAs do or research assistants do, like Martin was doing in the academy, writing the report. How do you check on the subject enrollment status? How do you check on deviations? How do you check on investigational product, regulatory up to date? That doesn't sound, how are you going to fit all that into a job description? You have to put
Yeah,
something short, right? 2 years or less, 1 year of experience. That's how they're saying that. That's a placeholder for all the stuff that you've learned in the CRA Academy. And it's not just Martin, it's student after student after student. We only get to interview like 20% of them.
And
So thank you
another
very much.
point that I want to mention in your program, you probably remember I was asking you after I was done graduating to if I can send you my resume, and if you got my resume and you put some points on it that were really important for me, especially as somebody who basically are new in the country. So I mean the wording, the meaning of something. I mean, you see in the resume if the guy who turns in the resume knows what he did, and
Right.
that's something it's always a sum of little points that make you a good person or a hireable person, and it's not only your resume. I mean, you can also look up so many things in the internet, about resume, but having somebody who really, can point it out perfectly, that's something. I mean, my resume changed with every application. My resume changed a little bit, outlined a little bit. Then somebody told me I even put something out I did in the past because it doesn't matter. Um, things like that. It changed always a little bit.
Were you I'm curious, were you a client of Ashley Margos, the one who teaches guest lectures our class?
No, no,
Okay,
I
okay,
wasn't.
Did
okay.
did your I assume it did, but did the CRA Academy come up in your interviews?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, um, I have it as in my education. Of course, I have a bachelor, and then I put it in the academy. It's also even in my LinkedIn profile. You can find that. That was really important because I thought, I mean, they want to know where you got your education, and
Sure, sure.
even I even wrote down then if they wanted to have some contact they can call. I even wrote down Dan's number. So it's important that they know where you got your education.
Hmm. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when do you start, Martin?
Um, yeah, within this week. The final interview was yesterday,
Okay.
and I had basically the meet and greet with the site to talk to the
Wow.
CRC, to talk to the PI, and so they at least see me and they can talk to me for a minute. And now
Yeah.
the company is basically setting up everything. Get the computer, get all the the contracts to sign. The everything you have to do
Hmm.
in order to basically be in the system of the company. Get your
Can you
badge and everything.
can you tell us, because this is new for us too? I mean, like I said, COVID made everybody in some sense naive. Uh, Usually the CRO doesn't have an employee of theirs
Mhm.
working at the site level. Uh, can you, as much as you can share, what does that arrangement look like? Because you work for the
Mhm.
CRO, not for the site, right?
Exactly. Well, basically, I'm hired through the recruiting company. The recruiting company works for the CRO, and I'm at the site to support the PI and the site itself.
I
So
see.
basically, it's basically my paychecks come from the recruiting company, but they are hiring for the CRO. So and I get I get the computer from the CRO. I get
I gotcha.
um, so
That makes sense. That makes sense for the CROs. I think a lot of them are doing that now with these COVID
yeah,
studies
yeah, yeah,
because these studies are so time sensitive
yeah,
that they're the only way they can ensure that the site is going to be uploading things in 24 hours and things like
yeah,
that
yeah,
is to
yeah,
actually
yeah,
have one of their people in the site. And that's
Yeah,
probably at no cost to the site. So
exactly.
the sites will say, okay, this is great. Let's do it because we don't have to pay for, this person's going to come here and help us make the study
Hmm.
better, basically. So that's an
Yeah,
interesting model. And that's something that you don't typically see in
yeah,
research. But I
yeah,
think that's an example of this year, COVID-19 basically changed everything in all aspects from more or less to some extent.
yeah. Well, it's basically a 12-month contract, but they basically said we have to see every 2 to 4 months. If we leave you at this site or put you somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
simply because it goes so fast, and it's nobody knows what's in 2 or 3 or 4 months. So
Mm-hmm.
and on the job, and that is also something that I discovered on the job description. It was said 4 to 6 months, and then during the hiring period, they even ask if I'm fine with it if it goes up to 12 or even 15 months.
Right.
Um, I mean, because it goes so fast, they don't want to hire probably every other week another guy. So if
Right.
they found somebody, um, why shouldn't they stick with them?
Especially if it's a Martin who's like good as gold coming out of the CRA Academy, doing the
Yep.
monitoring reports. I remember doing your monitoring report now, your cover letter, your CV. I recall all of this now. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's very interesting. And I'm glad it worked out for you. And like I said, this is just the beginning. I mean, everybody's worried about those short contracts. And like
No,
you said,
take it.
take
Take
it
it. I
because
mean,
as long
and
as you know
prove
what
that
you're
you're a
doing.
good guy, right?
Exactly, exactly. I have a lot of people telling me, "Oh, they offered me a job, but it's like a short contract." And I tell them, "Well, what's the alternative? You got to take it. The
Yeah.
alternative is no contract."
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what I said also. Yeah.
And if you impress them, they'll hire you permanently.
Like 90% of the time, you have to do, Chris and I talk about this all the time in our podcast. You have to do, once you're in research, if you're a site, if you're an employee anywhere, to get kicked out of the industry forever, you have to do something really, 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 really bad or stupid.
Yeah.
Which 99, no, I don't know 99, but 90, let's say 90% of the people will never even think of doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you're good. You're good to go. Martin, can't wait to do another interview with you later on. Thank you
And one
so
more
much.
question.
Oh, Chris, bring him on, man.
Well, this is kind of a touchy question. Most people don't like it to ask, but
Uh-oh.
Dan
Just
and I
don't
get
make me do more editing work, Chris. I don't want
well,
to edit this.
Martine can let us know.
Okay.
Um, so we get a lot of questions about this exact topic. So if you can share, Martine, what's your starting salary?
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I got a lot of job offers, kind of, like postings and emails. And would you like? Um, they were all between, let's say, 25 and $45 an hour.
Okay.
Um, this one, it's $31 an hour. I mean, you have to consider the area where we live in. In some areas, it's probably, you know, I mean, we live in Orange County, so that means, the income is a little bit higher than somewhere else,
Of course.
but it's a reasonable income.
Yeah, it's
I
not bad.
basically was exacting between. I always said between 35 and 45. That was my range, but I
Mhm.
knew I would take. I mean, I also got job offers for 25 and 20, dollars an hour,
Sure.
and I said no. I mean, that is nothing I would do. Um, so 31 bucks, it's fine.
That's
It's a
solid.
starting,
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a starting. I mean, you
that's
start,
that,
and
that that's a decent opening or starting salary. It's 65,000 a year. So
yeah,
And it's just
that's
the
nothing wrong with
beginning.
that. Yep.
It's just the
no,
beginning.
no.
But thank you, Chris, for asking that because now I remember what I was going to ask. So, Martin, to get this job, just to give people a estimate, okay, how
Mhm.
many applications did you have to send? How many interviews did you do? until you finally got this job? Just approximate.
Yeah. I mean, in general, you can say it's all about the numbers. You cannot expect to get an interview when you send out a resume once. That's for sure.
Some
And
people do, though. Some people do expect.
yeah, no. And for me, I even made a list who I talked to, who I applied to. Overall, I would say, plus minus approximately. Um, through and use every channel you can. Use, LinkedIn, Indeed, Upward. Look for companies, their job postings. Just look for everything you can and send in your resume basically as much as you can. You never know what comes back. So overall, I would say 50 times, between 50 and 70 times, I send out my resume. 50 and 70. I got calls, first calls, like, hey, we got your resume. We want to talk about it. That is the job posting, blah, blah, blah. So the first call I probably got between 25 and 35. So half,
Wow. Half. That's
40,
big.
30 to 50% of calls from recruiters, from, the company itself, mainly from recruiters. I mean, you seldom get a call from the company itself. It's most of the time, like 90% was a recruiter. The second call basically is where they ask specific question on what you did, what is written in your resume, etc. So basically, important points they want to know. And that was probably between 15 and 25 times. So another half the original. And job offerings, I got between 3 and 7.
Well, that's really good.
Where I
Good
knew the
numbers.
range, the salary range, where basically you had to have a final call, or they send you. I mean, for me, an offer is, here it is, check it out, and we then talk a final call.
Yeah.
And basically the final call where you can say, I will that job 2 or 3 times.
That's awesome. That's a high batting
Yeah.
average, Martin. If you were playing
I
baseball,
would say that's very high.
yeah, you'd be in the Hall of Fame, like maybe the best baseball player of all ever with that batting average. But that's
Yeah.
amazing, and that's actually this year. That shows you that's typical. Even for this year, that's high. So they must really like your background. But in previous years, pre-COVID, the numbers are lower because
Yeah.
it's less demand. But now we're adding all these new studies. I mean, look at the study you got. It's a COVID study, right? So this is the beginning of many good things to come, Martin. Thank you so much for
You're
representing the
welcome.
CRA Academy in a
Thank you
positive
so
light.
much.
I
You did a
appreciate it.
wonderful job. I mean, I really appreciate that. You need that. I mean, in that kind of business, invest in yourself. You have to see it that way.
Thank you, Martin. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Chris, also. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And we'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.